G'day guys, we're here with Ian O'Dwyer and I'm Dom Dos Remedios from PTA Global and PT Academy. So I'm talking to Ian today about trying to put into context the difference between all these mentorships that are being run through our community. As you might know, Ian is one of the co-founders of PTA Global and the creators of the PTA Global Mentorship, but also has his own OD on Movement mentorship and has recently launched with Rodney Corn the SOMA Mentorship. So OD, what is the difference between all these events? And for someone in our community who's done one or many or none of these events, which should they attend first, in which order, and does that actually matter? Can you enlighten us in this?
Dom, that's a great question because, you know, I'm getting inundated with people wanting to know which do they do first or which suits best or whatever it may be. And the biggest thing about any investment is that what's going to help you get the best return on investment for your business. We've identified over the last 10 years that, especially in the last 5, lots and lots more people are now going online and they're getting some great information and it's fantastic. However, we tend to be ingesting information now, but we're not investing in the experience of going face to face. So what I want to try and do is just quickly and simply identify what each of these 3 organisations do, from an OD on Movement mentorship to a PTA Global Level 1 and 2 mentorship to a SOMA Immersion. So realistically, OD on Movement is an advanced coaching foundation for trainers and coaches. People who are striving to optimize themselves and their business. I guess you could sort of say that, you know, the people who are really wanting to develop and evolve where they're going in the industry. The OD on Movement mentorship is, the philosophy is based around 3 simple, innovative and successful components. Firstly, enjoyment. Second is education. And third is empowerment. And by experiencing all 3 of these now face to face, you start to get a better understanding of how we can start to identify the problems that people have. OD on Movement would say, okay, let's look at tissue, motion and force. And those are the 3 components that really affect people in movement on an everyday basis. It's really about creating solutions to allow people to live their quality of life. That's what OD on Movement is really all about. PTA Global was created really as a general overview for trainers and coaches to require the success and create the success and longevity in the industry. There was lots and lots and lots of information, lots of various types of philosophies out there, but it was all very confusing. So we brought together 6 friends, colleagues, innovators in the industry who had very similar passion, very, very similar vision, but all had great uniqueness in the fitness industry. And what our vision was to bring the world's best information into one location and also the world's best applications. And by having that, we could then systemize it and make it less confusing and far more effective for coaches and trainers to get results, to build their businesses and to be effective. PTA Global really has revolutionized the industry. I mean, we were the first company to bring behavioral change into the fitness and health industry, functional anatomy, understanding how the body as a whole now, not as an isolated, the energy system development, the gears and goals. And I think, Dom, you and I both agree that that's just really helped a lot of trainers in knowing what, you know, how far to push a client and how far not to. And then, of course, we introduced a lot of the OD on Movement tools in there because of my commitment to them, and that was from osteofascial or fascial freeing, fascial mobilizers, play, those sorts of things there. So realistically, PTA Global simplifies the confusing state of what the industry can sometimes throw up at us. Where SOMA has now been created by Rod and I, what we've identified really over a number of years is the huge gap in creating connections, solutions, and applications for the human being in front of you. So this is really a deeper dive into where PTA Global was going. As you and I both know, Dom, PTA Global Mentorship started as a 3-day event. And then because of time, people wanted, they couldn't afford the 3 days. We took it to a 2-day event. But it's kind of sad because it's not until we get to the 2-day event that they go, oh, wow, I need the 3rd day. So the sad part about it, mate, is that, we really need to experience these things so we can start to understand the power of these types of events. So we've come together in a collaboration because we love working as a team. we've created a system that will empower trainers and clients to develop far more successful relationships. So in other words, they'll have more enjoyment, not so much frustration. They'll have more sustainability, which means more financial success. And the success will be either for them or their team. This is stuff that's scalable. So it's a deeper dive into the rabbit hole to find out really what's down there. But it's very much a hands-on experience that focuses on a specific outcome for clients. So you've got 3 very different events that will enable you to slot into wherever you need to go, dependent upon what you and your business needs at the time.
Great. So if our graduates, and let's talk specifically about the Australian graduates who have done the PT Academy course, they've been introduced to the system science tools, but in various units of competency. My personal view is that even those people will benefit greatly from coming to mentorship, because what it does is it puts those systems together, and it shows it how they can apply that with an everyday client.
Dom, it's a necessity that, it's like I go through a plumbing apprenticeship and I learn the theory, but I haven't actually put my hands to the tools and actually experienced what it's about. So what you're saying is it's critical. It's actually not a necessity. It's critical for them to now evolve what they've learned and to experience it in a room of people who will experience similar things.
Great. So if they've done none of the education, then it's really up to them to self-assess. Do they need more information, or do they need a system to rely on to allow them to have greater impact on their clients? In which case, potentially, behavior change and exercise and PTA Global Mentorship Level 1 would be a good place to start.
Right place.
They feel they've got the systems and they need to learn to apply that information at the coalface with their clients better. Then they've got 2 ways to go. They can go OD on movement, or they can go SOMA. And at the end of the day, it comes down to timing, and everything in life is timing. So if someone's sitting there worried about, well, which one to do first, will this be the only SOMA event you run this year, the one in November?
The one in November will be, but we'll be making sure that we've got a level 1 and a level 2 next year, because there's as I say, you know what it's like, mate, when you start getting down the rabbit holes and you start really digging in and questioning and challenging what we know and what we don't know, and then getting into connecting the brain to the body, it gets pretty involved. So no, we'll be having a level 1 and a level 2 next year. And you said it beautifully, Dom. It's purely about timing. So the biggest thing will be is that sometimes I find people in business and they go, well, I want to go to, for example, PTA Global, you've got a level 1 and a level 2, and you've got SOMA. You might find that you might have 2 or 3 people in that business, and one each goes to each of the events, because what they could do then is cross blend, but also all 3 will realize the importance of actually having to attend to get the benefits from them. There's lots of ways we can do them. The reason we put them out there, Dom, was because the industry was lacking, and it still is, in being able to produce the results. So we've just got to now take responsibility for us as trainers and coaches. And I guess the very first question we've got to ask ourselves is this a career for us, or is it just a part-time job? Because you know what? The industry isn't being successful at the moment for those who aren't investing in their longevity.
Yeah, agreed. 100%. Awesome. Well, thank you, Matt. I think there's, I think to summarize, that there are many options available, but for our database and our students, don't stress over which one to do in which order. In reality, we've seen firsthand that the best practitioners, the best coaches in our community are the ones who have taken the best elements from all these mentorships and applying it on a daily basis and making it their own. So we would really encourage everyone to get to as many of the events as possible. Really appreciate you sharing with us today.
Beautiful, Dom. And I think, Dom, just to finish off on exactly what you just said then, whatever you do, take action. Yes. Don't procrastinate. Don't sit back. Don't wonder. Take action. Have the courage to say, you know what, I'm going to go to whichever one, and I'm going to commit, and then I'm going to apply it so that I can actually get a return on my investment, Dom. Because if they do, you and I both know they'll be guaranteed that their businesses will all evolve and grow. Thanks,
absolutely, mate. And we've actually added a money back guarantee to the mentorship. That's how confident we are that people will get value out of it. So, I think it's a very low risk decision at the end. All right, mate.
Thanks, champion. Take care, mate.